Okay, we're calling the meeting to order at 7:03. And Ray, no, Debbie, I would like you to introduce our guests and your understanding of the purpose of this conversation, since you're the one that was the liaison person.
Sure, sure. So Michael is the chair of the Affordable Housing Committee in the town of Mansfield. Sheila is a longtime member of the committee. Sheila currently lives in Coventry, but because she brings such a wealth of past knowledge to the committee, she attends our monthly meetings. Gina is also a member of the committee. It's nice to see you, Gina. We missed you when you were traveling at our last meeting. And Martina and I, was it January that we came in, Martina? Okay, we joined the committee together in January. And Will is also a long-term member of the committee and is extremely involved. And Paul is the vice chair of the Affordable Housing Committee and works closely with Michael and is also a wealth of knowledge. So this evening, Jane, we are surrounded by extremely knowledgeable people for sure.
Okay. Now, it's my understanding that we came here to arrange another meeting, not to have the meeting. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay.
So this really stemmed, Jane, from the Human Rights Commission, our members, and we thought from a human rights perspective and equity perspective, it might be good to offer kind of an informal gathering. We were tentatively calling it Affordable Housing 101, everything that you wanted to know, and not a whole lot of statistics or a formal lecture, but just being able to answer some questions in the community because people are seeing all of these apartments and buildings growing around us, and not everybody knows who they're for and why they're there and if they could apply to live there, that type of thing. So we were thinking of having a joint late fall meeting around that theme with
Okay.
members from both committees who might be interested in presenting.
So we would have brief presentations from both committees and then open to the audience and generally have a conversation. And tell
Right.
people what the rules are, what these private housing things are, and then anything else they want to know. Ray, do you have anything else, since you have spent a lot of time understanding this, anything else to add to that kind of definition?
I think people just need to know, how they can get it, what the limitations are. Some of the myths, the big one that bothers me that, prompted this thing to start was the idea that, the folks think that the town's gonna offer affordable housing just for people in the town. And that's not the case, that, when the town offers affordable housing, it's to anybody who wants to apply. So that, as, units go to other people, and sometimes the other people are people in town, like students. But if it goes to other people, the town is discouraged. And I think the town's folks just need to understand that, we offer affordable housing. But it's for everybody. It's not limited just for Mansfield residents. I think that's a big nut to get over. Or just for senior citizens that live in Mansfield. And that affordable housing, a lot of the definitions, I know that Debbie doesn't want to talk about stats, but some of the eligibility requirements we have to talk about because some of the limits for affordable housing are pretty, they're artificially low. I mean, it's just, they're ridiculous
Right.
numbers based on the reality of things. But yeah, it's just kind of an informal thing, just let people know. The most important thing is get it well advertised so people come. And then if people complain in the future about not knowing what's going on, we can always say that we offered them a chance.
Yeah, I think that's a wonderful idea, and I know what the confusions are just from listening to you talk about it. So, being an old administrator, I want to cut to the chase. Who wants to run this meeting? Who's willing to set it up? Who do we need to talk to? What do we need to have such a meeting? In the late September would be a really good time. So let me hear from people. Where do you want to go with this? Monica, go ahead.
So what I think we need to do logistically is decide how we want to do this and then present it to the town manager's office. So whoever ends up working on it, I'm happy to notice any sort of public meetings that we need to be able to make this happen. But we definitely need to get approval from their office to host it. So just make sure that we calculate that in our time frame.
Sure. Okay, I'm going to, oh, yeah, sure, Paul, go ahead.
I think we can probably build this as a special joint meeting of both committees,
Mhm.
advertise it as it, hold it as it would be a regular meeting. Or, yeah, and with an agenda, or if you want to call it that, or a program would be a better word for this, in this case.
Mhm.
Make it a hybrid event so that people from around town can just log in and participate if they want to. Record the whole thing so that it becomes a permanent resource for the town in explaining what's going on with affordable housing. And and it's possible that Jennifer Kaufman might want to
Yep.
moderate it, if that's the correct term. And if not, if she didn't want to do it, then I would say maybe Mike and Ray ought to do it jointly, since they're, the
Yeah. that
one
sounds good.
from each committee who gave birth to this idea. So
Sure. That's a good idea, Paul.
That sounds, I like, yeah, go ahead, Sheila.
So I think it's important to think who the audience is and basically what we're going to focus on. There's been a tremendous amount of public forums around the time the Affordable Housing Plan was passed, huge amounts of discussion. There were other surveys that were done around trying to think of all the things that the town has done in terms of involving public participation related to housing. In December 6, 2022, Jennifer Kaufman presented a really nice overview of the Affordable Housing Plan and what the goals were. It's interesting at all these forums, I try to participate in as many as I could. It's been a very positive response of the public. That does not mean that there is a lot of people out there that don't have a positive response. So I don't know how much I can work on this because I'm going to be away for some half of September and then it's the Jewish holidays. But I think where a lot of the confusion comes, if you look at Nextdoor Mansfield and some of the online, chat sites, the confusion is about what's being built, all of the
Yeah.
building that's going on.
Right.
Who is it for? What's that building? What's that thing on South Eagleville Road, Eagleville Green? And I don't think it's understood. And I think Ray's right. People don't understand either that, the income limits actually for a lot of these things are fairly high. My only other suggestion, I'd sent members of the Housing Committee some background materials from other forums I was involved in, but I think it would be very important to stress people who are at the lower end, people who are struggling at the lower end of the income spectrum, particularly people who are homeless, because this is a huge issue in our area, and older citizens older people who are finding it, can't keep their homes, can't find a place to rent here. And for those folks, we have almost nothing, we have nothing to offer really, because some of them are even too poor to go into Wright's Way. They don't even have the basic income to qualify for elderly housing at Wright's Way.
Right.
I think the other thing that we'd have to mention, just briefly touch upon it, but, not only do we have a limited number of units, but really our infrastructure is not designed for low-income folks right now. I mean, there's no public transportation, so you put somebody on a house in South, even if you do it on South Eagleville Road, if it's an older person or a single parent or something like that, if they don't have a car, how they're gonna, how they're gonna do things. So that, the low-income housing is certainly, and I know that's not our charge, but the reality is that, even though we offer units, they still may not be, you know, the cream of the crop, so to speak, because we don't have the infrastructure, the bus systems, the whatnot, to get them to the doctor, to get them to the grocery store, and, you know, they may have to look elsewhere, and I think that's the reality. We want our residents to find housing. And we would like it to be in the town of Mansfield, but that may not be the case, and I think we should still be helping them to find housing elsewhere in a situation that maybe is better for them. And we may be doing that now, I don't know. But I just want to, that's important to bring out, because we don't want to, put somebody in a unit and then they can't do anything or get anywhere. That's not serving any kind of purpose at all.
We're gonna need a structure of kind of an outline on
Yeah.
breaking down the basic elements of what we want the public to learn. You know, what's the need, what's the value, what's the benefit, how do we do it, how, what are the rules? We need some sort of a structure that we can follow to lay it all out, so that when folks start asking questions when we're done or in the process, that we have some, they have some fundamental understanding of what the situation is. And accurate information, not what they heard from their next door neighbor or on Facebook or something.
Right.
I
So
think
I have a question.
yeah,
How much material do we need to prepare to get the town manager approval?
I don't think we need his approval at all, actually.
I don't think
If
so.
we're gonna involve staff and
I
stuff.
found him quite unresponsive lately. I mean, and then I've just found him quite unresponsive. I think if we're having a meeting and we want to open it to the public, technically, our
Right.
meetings are always
Okay.
open to the public. So it's simply a matter of finding a place. I think we need to inform him, but I don't know that we need to ask him. Let's pretend we're one of those computer genius ladies who
Okay,
act first and
Well-
apologize later.
So I think part of that too is there is going to be more staff time that we're using than your standard committee meeting too. So I think that at
Okay.
least notifying that if we're talking Jen Kaufman, we're gonna need IT there if we're gonna be doing
Mhm.
it in public and on Zoom and having those components. So I think, we can notify him maybe and present the material that we will present. I think that that's fine. I'll double check that there's nothing else that we would need to do on that end.
Well, we need the other part of it. We need the agenda, because it sounds like the purpose of this meeting is to inform people, not to solicit opinions, which is different than what's been happening in the past. So we need to prepare our agenda, prepare our materials, and then publicize, and that's Margaret. And Margaret is fundamental and essential to this because she's such a good publicity person. So we need that to be part of the conversation.
I think Katie also had something to say too.
Katie, what do you want to say?
Oh, I was just gonna echo that, making sure that there is buy-in from the town manager is going to be what gets the publicity to get the public out. Because even if you're hosting a special meeting, because it would have to be noticed as a special meeting of the joint commissions meeting together, in order to actually get people to come out, it needs to come from a high enough level that people know about it, know what it is, and know why they should care. And that does have to go through Margaret, which ultimately goes through the town manager's office.
And I think Jen would be our conduit to ways. I mean, she likes this idea. She supports this idea. So I'm sure she could help, grease the rails and make everything fall into place. And we don't want to make a bunch of work for the town manager's office anyway. So,
Mm-mm.
but having a, available day in the council chambers where we can have a decent crowd, and where, if we have one, and where we get all the, appropriate tech support,
Right.
that's, minimum.
Yep. Okay, so I'm going to ask again, who is going to organize this? We need a couple of volunteers who will be the point people and do all the contacts and put together the information.
Monica, if we meet to plan this meeting, we have to publicize that.
I'm so sorry, if we, what, I'm sorry.
Say that one or two of us from the Human Resources Committee and a couple of folks from the,
Yes,
you know,
yep, they are all public meetings. If we are talking about committee business, they must be noticed. Per FOI.
I think if one member of the Human Rights Committee talks with one member of the Affordable Housing Committee in a planning capacity, there's really no FOI issue there. As long as they bring their work back to their respective committees for, approval and discussion or whatever, or action.
Right.
I would double check that with the town clerk, but yeah.
Well, yeah, okay, that's fine. I would recommend you do that, but I am a working journalist and I do know the FOI law, so.
Okay, awesome. Yeah.
I'm not gonna organize it. I really don't have the time, but I'm happy to provide any information I can if I and help whoever chairs it, with whatever the group wants to focus on.
So I'll volunteer to work from Affordable Housing Committee
Okay,
on organizing.
thank
And
you,
Ray, would
Mike.
you be willing to be the HRC rep for this?
Did you say right?
Yeah,
Yeah, I could do that.
good. Okay, so let the minutes reflect that Michael Accorsi and Ray Fricano will coordinate planning and contacts with all the appropriate town officials to set up a meeting for public information regarding the details of affordable housing and how one accesses that. How's that sound? Is that
And you
the
would
whole-
want Michael and I to get an agenda put together. Not necessarily all fleshed out yet, but just an agenda of the basics.
Okay,
Right. And also Jane, who will moderate? Will it be Jennifer or?
that sounds
Michael
like the
and
best
Paul?
idea. Would one of you ask her if she'd be willing, and then the three of you figure out a date that seems to make sense and check it with Monica so that we have
Right, with
the
Monica.
council chambers?
Ray, let me get your phone number.
860-428-2683.
2863
No, 2683.
2683. Okay,
I'll just
Katie.
throw out from a logistics
Katie.
standpoint, if you guys are looking towards the end of September, to just be mindful of when the
You're freezing, Katie.
school open houses are, so that you're not scheduling a conflict with them.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, finding a date for this, it might be a little tricky. With
Yeah, it might be the
of
beginning of
school and,
October, I
you know.
think.
Yeah.
Sheila, you don't know offhand when the Jewish holidays are by any chance, do you?
I have my calendar.
Oh, good. We need Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur.
We were really thinking more October, I believe.
Yeah, I think that's better.
Jane.
I don't think it's urgent that we do this like immediately.
Yeah, Yom Kippur begins the evening of October 11th.
Okay. All right,
We
well,
want
then,
to do it well. We want it to be well done.
absolutely.
And there's no units coming open real quick, so it's not like something's happening tomorrow, so.
When are they scheduled? When are the first ones scheduled?
They're still building. I mean,
They still don't know.
I don't
okay.
know
They're taking a waiting list, though. There's a waiting list online.
already, I'm
And
sure.
they'll use a lottery to pick who goes in.
Okay, so you will report back to us, gentlemen?
Yep.
Thank you.
Mike and Ray.
Okay, anybody else have any comments to make on this subject? All right, thank you very much. We're moving along, and I wanted us to do a couple of things in the fall, and this is going to be a very good thing to do. All
I
right,
just wanted to thank everyone from the Affordable Housing Committee for joining us tonight. Great to
Yes.
see you all again.
Yeah, thank you. Great participation.
and-
Thank you for being
And
here.
for the Human Rights
Nice to
Committee
meet
for having
everyone
us.
from HRC.
Yeah.
Have a good evening.
Good night.
I'll
Evening.
send you a
Thank you,
text,
thanks
Ray,
again,
so you have
everyone.
my number.
All right.
Good night, everyone. Thank you
Good
for all
night.
your work.
Thank you again. Thank you.
Hi, Sabrina.
Okay.
Okay,
Nice.
Monica, are you still there? Hi.
Monica never leaves.
Will is still on.
Will is still on.
Okay.
Will, you have something you want to say?
You can stay.
No, Will's trying to get off and he's having trouble with his computer.
Oh,
Okay, take your time, Will. Take your time.
well, you are welcome to stay.
Okay, I'm going. Goodbye.
Okay, thanks, Will.
Bye, Will.
Okay, Monica, I'm going to need you to walk me through the agenda because I can't get it on my screen and I can't print it because I
So,
have two positions.
right, so we are now at the approval of the minutes from July 3rd, 2024 with Sabrina being here. We are now at a quorum, so
Okay,
and go ahead and vote on those.
may I have a motion to approve the minutes, or are there any corrections to the minutes? Let me ask that. Okay, may I have a motion to approve the minutes from the
So
previous?
moved.
Ray moves, second,
Second.
Debbie seconds, all in favor?
Bye.
Okay. Minutes are approved. Next item.
Sorry,
Monica,
was-
read to me, hello.
I'm sorry. I was trying to make sure I had the right people. So we are at the affordable housing check-in, which I think we already did. So,
We just
community
did.
conversations.
What's next?
Community
Community-
conversations?
Okay, has anybody had any community conversations?
Well, I met with the principal from E.L. Smith. Is that now? Gonna do that now?
No, that's a
No, I
member
think-
report.
Oh, that's a different, okay.
Okay, and I have some ideas, but I'm going to suspend them in the light of the previous conversation. Debbie, you want to say something?
Well, just the community conversation, I think I'd mentioned this to you, Jane, but not the whole committee. So I'm part of a monthly peace and justice interreligious group. And we meet monthly, and it's really around community organizing and encouraging and getting some training for our faith communities in Eastern Connecticut, Northeast Connecticut, to get out into the community and do some work that needs to be done. So at our last meeting, which was actually held at the synagogue in Willimantic, I talked about the Human Rights Commission and the work that everyone does, and talked about our hello stickers and just say hello, because there was a lot of conversation about there was a lot of conversation about the importance of one-on-one conversations with people in the community. So that's why I brought up your stickers and that type of thing. So if anyone from this commission is interested, our next meeting, just let me tell you, and you're more than welcome to attend, is September 24th, which is a Tuesday at 5:30 p.m. and it will be at the Willimantic Congregational Church right next to the co-op. So you're more
I
than
am very interested in that. I will be home by then.
okay. September 24th, 5:30, Willimantic Congregational.
Right.
What's the group called officially?
We call it the well, we just call it the Justice and Peace Committee for all the faith communities in the area, right?
Okay, that's fine.
That's good. Okay, thank you. All right, Katie.
I just wanted to put out, because Debbie had mentioned the stickers, if there is ordering of future stickers in, the need in the future. I know moving forward, that Sticker Mule has specifically kind of sent out some emails to their customers that might not be in line with the Human Rights Commission's values and ideals. So
Really?
looking at other companies to work with
Okay.
might be more in line with what this committee might want to do. I know a lot of folks are switching over to Sticker Giant. I haven't had experience with them yet because I haven't had a need to order stickers yet, since Sticker Mule had kind of sent out some emails that didn't really align with rights of humans.
Well, I am getting ready because we're almost out and the season of sticking them on people is coming up again. So I'll be in touch with you to get that connection, and then I'll talk to Margaret about it. Thank you. Okay. Monica, what's next?
Nonviolent communication workshop.
Okay. So I have spoken with Celia, I forget her last name, from the International Nonviolent Communication Committee. I have received a proposal from her to do 2 different kinds of programs in the town of Mansfield. She has given us a price that I think is manageable and within our budget, as I understand it. And I have tried several times to get a hold of Ryan and Maria, to no avail. So if you looked at your email between 5:30 and now, you saw the final thing that I sent. And I'm not worried. We have to have their permission, but I'm not worried about getting money from them. I think we have enough money. So I'm going to go back and talk to Celia and see if we can set up some time, maybe end of October, beginning of November, to do a public workshop on nonviolent communication. And that's right around election time. So we have to talk about what the date would be,
Yeah.
and I don't know what her availability is. And it's going to be 2 hours of how to talk to people you don't agree with and what the format is for doing that. And it's not a complicated format. It's a difficult thing to do because you're so intensely involved in the conversation, but the format is A, B, C, D. So I'm going to proceed with that because I really would like to see us run this nonviolent communication workshop. And I assume that after I wrote that less than pleasant memo in the last couple of hours, I should get some response.
I do know people
Don't
have been on
mess with an
vacation.
old lady administrator. That's all I have to say. And
I
after
do know,
3
Oh.
weeks of not hearing back anything, I decided I need to step it up a little bit. So that's where we are with that. But I mean, I'm very excited about this because we can teach people how to talk to each other. Wouldn't that be wonderful? When they're not agreeing and they don't know what to do next and they don't want to get in a fight. That is a big part of what we're trying to do. So that's where I am right now. And I'm assuming I carbon Tony on it. So I assume I'll get some kind of response fairly soon. I'll keep you posted.
Jane, I have a question. What is your bottom line that you're asking for? I wasn't clear. Are you asking for the $5,000 or are you asking?
No,
for-
I'm not asking for anything because I think we already have about $5,000. We didn't use up everything and we get $5,000 this year too. So we have leftover money plus this year's money, and Margaret was pretty reassuring that we had enough money to pay for this. So I haven't asked for anything. If I have to ask for something, I will be more formal about it and I will ask.
So this is for what? So how many, it's for the 2 hours initial session and then 3 after that?
Well, I was talking to Celia. At first, I just wanted to have a public session on what is nonviolent communication. How do you talk to people you disagree with? And then as I was talking, I thought if we could do some train the trainers kind of stuff and teach like 20 people in town how to run people through this initial program of how to talk to people you disagree with, we would have a cadre of people who could go out and help any small group, any organization learn how to speak to each other about conflicts they were having. It would all be volunteer. So if we get to that point, I would like to train like 20 people to be able to be the resource. And I haven't gotten into the, how do we train? What's the liability, which is always the issue. But that's where I want to go with it. I want to teach a bunch of people how to teach other people how to do this, because that's the way you make progress, not just by teaching a few people and having them go home and not fight with their family.
So initially you're opening this up to the town just for anybody to attend, just for a basic overview of the program. And then possibly the trainer is when you pare it down to 20 selected people. That we would.
Yeah, we do. I mean, that all needs to be worked out, because if
Right.
we get such
Okay.
a big turnout that we have to select people, and we will have to select people because we don't want people who want to come in and throw conversational bombs at each other. We want people who sincerely are interested. So it would be, to do the training for 20 would probably be in the spring, because it would take a lot of organizing to do it properly. But the public session would just be, let's tell everybody what we're doing. Let's do some good information. Let's do the kind of publicity we did for the last dialogue. And then let's have an open meeting. And that wouldn't be as hard to organize. And it wouldn't be just a lecture, but there would be role plays. Because you have to practice what she's teaching. She can hand out a piece of paper and in 2 minutes tell everybody what it's all about. But in order to learn how to do it, you have to do it.
Mhm.
But 2 hours is enough to begin doing it.
Oh, yeah, 2 hours. 2 hours is good.
You're saying in the $700 ballpark then initially then? Is that what it is?
Yeah, yes, I think so.
Okay, plus expenses possibly, whatever, but, okay.
And that's a lot cheaper than Debbie Irving was a couple of years ago. I mean, I think she's being very reasonable and she's giving us a price that is for nonprofits. And she also kind of implied that if we couldn't afford that, she'd drop the price because she really likes what we want to do. So I'll let you know, but I've gotten stymied by not getting any response from Matt or Maria, and I want to go ahead so I can find out what her availability is. So that's where we are with that one.
Sounds good.
Okay.
Well, we're certainly in an atmosphere where that's very important right now.
And we'll
And-
continue to be for a very long time, I think.
Yeah,
we're just
and
Really
I-
out of practice at talking to each other.
Right, and I just remember just a really quick thing to share with you before we move on. When I've had quite a bit of training in this area, and one of the things I learned as a phrase to say, which I think is very helpful, especially if there's if two people or two groups are talking with each other and there's really very conflicted views, disparate views, no way that anyone is going to agree, to just, gently say, that's an interesting perspective, or I appreciate you sharing your opinion. Thank you. And then moving on. So
Yep,
it's
yeah, that's a great
acknowledging
way
what
to
they're
do it.
saying and then moving on, right?
Right, and if anybody is interested in learning about this nonviolent communication, the man who founded the movement wrote about 5 books, and you can get them all on Amazon. His name is, it will come to me. All you have to, well, I think in one of my emails, I sent the link to their website,
You did.
and I can send that to you again if you want it, so that you can find out more about it. It's, excuse me, conceptually, it's very easy, and anybody who's had any training, it's basically intro to counseling, which I taught for years, and I thought, well, I could do it, and then I thought, no, I don't want to do this. I want outsiders who are experts come in and do it. Because they're outsiders who are experts. So that's what we're going to do. Okay, thank you. Hello, Velda. Nice to have you. Next on the agenda, Monica.
So it looks like we have, new business was the meeting that we had kind of had that discussion between, us and the affordable housing, which was last, or next on new business. And then Celebrate Mansfield is, final. And, I just have to briefly, I did talk to Janine, who agreed to be the contact person for Celebrate Mansfield. But we do need to give her a little bit more information on what we are going to, be doing. Because my assumption when I talked to her was that we would do the quilting activity that she's been doing. Then I know we've done happy to say hello or say hello in your native language, all of those things. I think we did food last year, if I'm not mistaken.
Janine had a big poster of all kinds of ethnic comfort foods.
Okay.
And we have some of those pictures still. I mean, unfortunately, Janine is the one who organized most of this, and she's not here tonight. But she is going to be there, and she is very willing. So I think we can count on her to come up with the activities. And Barbara's the other one who's also incapacitated at the moment. But the two of them were the ones. We want to do some stuff to pull kids in particularly. And it's say hello in your native language. What's your favorite food? The
So
map of where everybody comes from, all that kind of stuff.
So I did tell her that we would discuss it today and give her more information on what, like, the group wants. I know the quilting activity that she had done too, which was, I think, what does human rights look like to you, or what does peace look like to you? Something along those lines.
Oh, that quilt that she was working on. Yeah, we're gonna do
Yeah.
that.
So I don't know how many activities we can fit in that one booth. But it's, I think, up to us to decide what we want to do, and she will fill out the paperwork for it and be that contact person.
Yeah, I think the thing about what does peace look like to you was really successful, and I would like to see us continue that. Go ahead, Katie. You're muted.
Monica, I just wanted to know if you knew already whether or not the Registrar of Voters was going to be at the Celebrate Mansfield event doing voter registration, or if that would be another opportunity for HRC like you guys did at Pride.
I don't know. I think actually there might be more of a need or a like following to be able to register to vote, because UConn students will be here. So that might, open up some more people who aren't registered yet.
So are you gonna find out if the registrar is gonna be there, Monica?
I'll talk to them. I'll see if they're gonna be there. I think early voting just ended today, so I will talk to them tomorrow, see if they'll be there too. We can put that on our stuff, I guess, or on our events that we would do. But it does need to be in by the 16th is our deadline.
Okay, well. How specific do you need to be? Because it seems like we have a whole lot of choices, but do we have to say we're gonna do this and this and this, or we're gonna say a number of activities, including this and this?
Well, I'm gonna pull it up right now just to see what it says. It's planned activity, remember to think interactive and low waste. This is not an opportunity for fundraising, is what it says.
Okay.
So I think we could
The
say,
quilt thing, definitely meets that. The say
so does
hello in
the
your native
food.
language meets that. I don't know if she wants to do the food thing, because she had all these little pictures of food and they were all laminated and we kept some and some of them disappeared. So I don't,
Oh.
I have to talk to Janine, but she's busy having a family situation that she has to deal with, but I know she's gonna come through with stuff.
Right, I did call her today. I told her I'd call her tomorrow and
Okay.
give her more information. We could do maybe say like a number of activities, including being the ones we know we're gonna do.
Yep, let's do
And
that.
then, if there's voter registration, if there's, we decide to do the happy to say hello or say hello in your native language versus the food thing, like. I think,
Well, I think I want to have those happy to say hello stickers, but I don't think that's an activity. That's just a thing we're giving to people.
It's a giveaway.
Yeah.
right, but the
And the-
giveaway with, oh, sorry.
Oh,
we're-
no, no worries. Go ahead, finish your thought.
Oh,
Monica.
the giveaway
I
with the like say hello in your native, like it could be a little bit of both, it's a way
Right.
to start the conversation, but then also get a sticker out of it, which is kind of fun.
Yeah, and Janine is really good at pulling people together to talk to each other. I've watched her operate. She does it with 5-year-olds. It's amazing. I was thinking, oh, Katie, those stickers that we have do stick on water bottles. You asked me that. I've had 2 of them on my car through several car washes and they're still right there and they're fine. So I think they'll stick and I want to get something of that quality again, if we can.
I want to say being part of the Celebrate Mansfield committee for the 2nd year now, we're pretty flexible as long as there is an activity featured in the activity booth. I don't think we're super worried about the specifics as long as
Yeah, I had a feeling that was what was going to happen. So thank you. And I'm going to be there. Janine's going to be there. Ray, you going to be there? Yes. Debbie, you going to be there?
I can be there in the morning. I'll be at the Joshua Trust table in the afternoon. What time
Okay,
does it
well, we
start,
get,
Monica?
when we get
6.
closer, we can figure out a schedule.
Be my first Celebrate Mansfield event, so.
Yep.
Activity booths start at 2 p.m. It looks like it's 2 to 6.
2 to
The
6 is
activity
what it was
booths
this
are
year.
open. And the festival is open till 8.
Okay, so it's more of an afternoon, evening thing.
Yeah.
So I'll probably do more of an early evening thing then,
Okay.
because I think I'm scheduled for 2 for Joshua's Trust, so.
We
Okay.
will also have a meeting
Late
in,
afternoon.
We have
Sorry.
one more meeting before that where we can confirm the schedule.
exactly.
Okay. Next,
Member reports.
member reports. Ray, you had a member report. Oh, okay. Katie, you want to go first or Ray, you want to go first? First, you have,
So
go ahead.
my internet's being a little bit wonky. I will share an update with you guys. Monica is already aware. But this is my last meeting with you guys because I will be leaving the town of Mansfield on September 5th. So I will be moving on to joining group practice and just be focusing on counseling for a little while.
Oh, okay.
Oh, no.
It's a
We're
sad thing.
sorry to lose you, Katie. You are so great, really. Oh my
Who is going to keep me on track and out of trouble?
I don't know that anyone can keep you out of trouble, Jane.
Well, I mean, I don't mind the kind that I get into intentionally. It's the accidents that are the problem. Is somebody going to replace you? Not that they could, but is somebody going to sit in your chair?
So the opening for my position has been posted both internally and externally, but that position wouldn't necessarily be the one to fill the role that I'm filling with this committee, since
Right.
I'm sitting on not
Sure.
as the Youth Service Bureau Director or the Youth Services Supervisor, but as the LGBTQIA2F+ liaison to the town council. I don't know realistically if they have another candidate in mind that they would like to ask to be appointed to that position, or how they're going to move forward with that. I know they are still working on kind of the transitions of my office, so I don't know where that falls in the town's priorities, to be honest.
Okay.
Okay, well, thank you, but that means that we will have to make sure that we don't forget it.
The good news is that you guys have Micah, and Micah is
Yeah,
an
now,
expert
has
in
any-
all of the
no-
things that I'm an expert in.
Yes, he is, sort of. But we haven't heard from him and he didn't come tonight, so we don't know what happened to him.
Yeah, right. He wasn't here tonight. Yeah.
I'm surprised. I'll have to get in touch with him and find out what's going on. Okay, well, Katie, all the best. I'm sure.
Yeah,
a lot-
and that
a lot
counseling
of
is so
people.
important. Yeah, yeah. Thank you for all your good work, Katie.
And you can give up poverty.
We're gonna miss you.
Yep.
I will definitely miss this work group a lot, and I trust you to keep doing good work, because I'm still a Mansfield resident, so it still matters to me. So
That's good. So we
Great.
know where to find you if we need to.
I'm a registered voter.
Okay,
On
good.
public
Wonderful.
record.
Wonderful, wonderful. Okay, what's next?
I'll do my report.
Okay.
So if you recall back a while ago in the spring, that blue handout came out, the Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Report from E.O. Smith, and that kind of raised everybody's eyebrows and made us interested in this. I said I would meet with the principal. I finally did after school was over with. I sent you all an email with a cover letter that has a lot of embedded hyperlinks in there. It was a really, really, really good discussion with him. I went in there as a citizen and as a representative of the committee, and I one of the things I brought up, I'm not doing this in any particular order, but one of the concerns I mentioned was something that Jane had mentioned to me, that it seemed like that the teachers weren't, this whole thing about being discriminated against and it requires a person to advocate for themselves. If somebody's picking on you, you have to go to a teacher and tell them. If you don't, unless it's witnessed, it's just going to continue to go on. So
Mhm.
that's a big part of it. But there was a concern expressed to me that, teachers are witnessing things going on and they either fail to act or they don't know what to do. And Lou agreed with me that that was the case, that he understands that. And part of his training is to, make teachers more aware of that, bring them to a greater thing, a greater responsibility. You'll see in the report that the letter that I sent out, or that I transmitted from Lou, this is an ongoing process. It's going to take quite a long time. You're talking about a culture change. Lou mentioned to me, and I don't think it's a secret, that in years past, teachers never left E.O. Smith. They always stayed there forever and ever. They never went elsewhere. It seems since COVID and since this equity, diversity, and justice came into being, that teachers are beginning to leave, that they don't like the pressure that's being put on. I think they feel it's inappropriate. So there's been a significant staff turnover at E.O. Smith, a kind of changing of the guard. So they're getting younger teachers in there, which will need to be trained, but I think also younger teachers, which also will relate better with the students. So I was initially thinking that the Region 19 has a board, and they have within that board, they have a committee called Equity, Diversity, and Justice, which is overseeing all the activities of, discipline and, the DEI efforts and whatnot. Initially, I thought we could sit on that, but we can't, because it's not a town organization. but we're welcome to go to the meetings. All those meetings are open to the public. So I've been in contact since with, what's his name? Oh, Tony Pataccio, who is the chairperson of this Equity, Diversity, and Justice Committee. He's a representative that comes from Ashford. And I've asked him, that we want to be a part of, we want to know when he's having meetings so that we can attend. Certainly I will attend, but that we want to attend. I put it forward to both Lou and to Tony that, if things are going on in school, they're also going on in the community. So we can't, we shouldn't be working, we need to work together more. Like we need to know, they need to know what we're doing, we need to know what they're doing, and they both agreed to that. So it's just a question, we're gonna have to build, rapport with them. I guess I've made myself the initial contact person. Everybody's gonna be in, Lou is gonna contact me when, issues come up and when there's meetings, and then Tony said the same thing. So we'll see if that comes about, but, it was suggested, and I'm gonna pursue this, that they do have a human rights club at E.O. Smith. And I said they should, somebody from that club should come to our meetings. I mean, they may not be able to remember necessarily, but.
Yeah, we've been trying to get somebody from high school age, so that would be perfect.
Yeah,
Monica.
so I'm gonna work on that. I have some additional contacts that I've just recently made. So I'm gonna work on that a little bit. We have to work on, when we're working with E.O. Smith, we have to remember that it's not a Mansfield school, it's a region school. So we have to, go along with, we can't be too pushy, and, we're representing, when you talk about E.O. Smith, you're representing the 3 towns. So it's, you have to be conscious of that. I don't know if Ashford and Wellington have a human rights commission even, but,
Our designation is for the entire area, so they
yeah,
would.
so we
need to
could do
have
that.
one. Monica, what do you want to say?
So we do have one open position, and it has historically been a E.O. Smith student.
Okay,
They've been great. I mean, I don't think anybody ever has had any complaints about how awesome they've been. The other thing is that we did have some people, not intern, they were called student volunteers. And one of them was not from Mansfield. So that would, make them ineligible to serve on the committee in that capacity. But we can absolutely have them come if they wanted to, help out, or even like do events like Celebrate Mansfield with us. We've always been open to that. So if, he has any ideas, we're happy to have him.
Yeah, but we definitely, we need a younger person. I just met this morning with 2 college students, and I was blown away by the things I learned from them. So, I mean, we need somebody, and if you have a connection where we
I'm
can.
gonna continue, I told Lou that I'm not gonna go away, and that if we can't talk, then I'm gonna show up at his office during the day, and, we need to get contact. I've since also been contacted by the, social studies,
She's in charge of all that activity. I
Yeah.
met her at that one big program that they had. Very enthusiastic woman, and she's a good connection.
Yeah, so I'm gonna continue to kind of push, but I'm gonna push for membership, somebody to come on our committee. And I'm gonna, stay abreast of what's going on. My opinion, based on reading all the stuff that they sent out, they're doing a good job. It's just gonna take time.
It's going to take a very long time.
It's a question of changing the culture, and unfortunately, he's having some issues with that as far as getting his teachers to fall into line and do that. And it's to be expected, because teachers are saturated, and I think to ask them to look the other way, and it's a difficult time in schools. It just isn't. So, but I'm very hopeful. I think everything is under control. That they are aware, but I think a big part of this, and like I said, is that if a student is being, or anybody, not even just a student, but an adult too, really the way the system works right now is you have to advocate for yourself, and you have to find a wherefore to go and tell somebody that I'm being discriminated against, or this is happening to me. And that's hard for adults, it's super hard for kids. And
And they don't
they're
have
gonna
a-
have
they
to
don't
work,
have
and
a
I
s-
told, they know they have to work on that. They have to teach their students to advocate for themselves and where to go to get assistance if they need it. I mean, Katie's been there, and I'm sure that Katie's, been in contact with a lot of the students that we're talking about. But there's also a lot of students. And the other thing that I was a little surprised about was this initial effort was made for only students of color. It wasn't universal. Like, for example, actually African American, that was the primary goal of this initial thrust. And they're going to include other groups like the Asian American groups and whatnot. There's other minorities at Yale Smith that haven't necessarily been embraced for this progress yet, this program yet, but it took a tremendous amount of effort on their part. And I personally, and I'm always picky about organizations and planning, I think they're doing okay. We'll just have to keep watching it. I think he's very dedicated to it. I think he's got a lot of, he comes at you with a lot of power, and he comes at you with a lot of enthusiasm and energy. And I think some of the teachers have had a problem with that. But you just got to match him, and you just match his passion and say, hey, we're going to do it. We'll do it together. But I was very well encouraged, and I think we'll need to, build a relationship with them so that we can find out if things are happening. Because like I said, whatever's happening there is happening in the town too. It's happening at the community center, or it's happening in the playgrounds, or it's happening when they go to the mall, or, and we need to make people feel safe and know what's going on. It shouldn't just be school. I think that's something, I feel like it's something we should be called as this commission to, walk with them and, help get their information and help them, and they help us too. I hope I'm not being too overly optimistic or.
Yeah, I did this for 2 years before you did it and got nowhere. The reason that Smith only focused on African Americans, or one of the reasons, was because there was a kid pushing it, and I can't remember his name, but I know his whole family. And he was very good at it. And this civil CAB club that they have, and of course, Amy Nocton was very influential. And then she had her cancer bout. Now her husband is having cancer bout, so she's been knocked out, and she was tremendously helpful. So I think you're right. We need to push, we need to work together, and we need to share resources. And he needs to know that we're available and not be distressed by it.
Yeah, I think it'll impress him if I show up at a Board of Education meeting, or we show up, not necessarily just me, but anybody from the committee, it'll show them that we're sincere about that we want to get involved, we want to do things. So.
Well, I think the thing I'm the most encouraged about is that you're telling me there's a turnover there, because I've heard horror stories about what it's like to try to be a Black faculty member at Smith. So if we got new people, that's wonderful. Let's start.
And I am talking, there's several, without going into, my wife used to do daycare. We did it exclusively for teachers, and we've had a lot of teachers from Yale Smith. So I have a lot of friends. We have a lot of friends now that are teachers at Smith. So I'm making relationships. Also, where I worship the Teacher of the Year, that was just Mr. Goldman, who was just made Teacher of the Year at Yale Smith. I know him well, so he's working with me now. So I'm going in the front door, and I'm going in the back door, kind of. So
wonderful, wonderful. That's exactly what we need. That's great.
I'll keep going with this as long as I'm able to.
And I will be with you. So let me know what's going on. I'll be in touch. Thank you for everything you're doing. Anybody else got any other comments?
Sabrina has her hand up.
Where? Thank you. Oh, there you go. You can use technology. What?
Great update from Ray. Speaking of education, as part of the Board of Ed, I had to vote for an increase in school lunch costs as part of logically recommended updates from our food services staff. But it had been bothering me as a previous recipient of free and reduced lunch. So I've been attending fundraisers. At the most recent one, I spoke to a potential candidate for governor in 2025, and I told her, I'd be happy to support you as long as you had universal school lunch on your agenda. So It's definitely something where I'm really excited to get more involved and go canvassing for political candidates. I think it's an awesome time to get involved in what you believe in nowadays.
Thank you. Other comments?
I was just going to remind people, I know I've said this before, the Wyndham branch of the NAACP is also doing a lot of work in the Mansfield schools. So, you know, things
What are they doing?
things
what are
are
they-
being done and being, you know, moving forward.
What are they just adjudicating difficult situations, or are they doing teaching?
They're doing teaching at Mansfield Elementary School with the teaching staff. At E.O. Smith, they've just been, if there's a parental complaint, then the Legal Redress Committee goes in and works with the principal and any teachers and students who might be involved to resolve the conflict.
Then, yeah, I know they're very effective. That's good. Okay,
I also, this month, I attended a PFLAG, had their annual picnic at the Bicentennial Pond just a couple Sundays ago. And I was at that attendance, and it's a great group of people. I really like that. I just feel very much at home with that community of people. And, you know, they're going through some reorganization ideas. Nothing's official yet, but I also, you know, I know that Michael was there. I also, you know, I'm connected with that community also, so I just want to make you aware. So I keep abreast, keep my ear to the ground and help make things, you know, listen to things and whatnot. I think that's what I call to do.
okay, thank you. Anybody else? All right,
Not a report, because the next things are communications and opportunity for public comment, but I did want to just let Ray know. I'm going to be emailing Sarah Ann right now, including you and Michael on it, regarding what the next steps would be for that joint meeting. So, or for you two to be able to connect about, you know, moving
Okay.
forward.
Yep.
So you should get a response. Hopefully she'll be in tomorrow and she'll be able to do that.
Okay.
good, thanks. Anybody else? Thank you very much, everyone. Katie, thank you for showing up, even though you're not a member. Good luck with what's coming next in your life. And we'll see you at the beginning of September.
Well, we're not close. We have any communications or anything, or?
Oh,
No, we don't have any communications, but we do need a motion to adjourn and a second.
So moved.
second,
Second.
all in favor? Aye,
Aye.
opposed? Very good. Okay, thank you.
Take care, Katie.
Thank you guys all. Keep up
Thank
the
you,
good
Katie.
work. I know you will.
Yeah, sorry to see you go, Katie. Best of luck to you.
Thank you. I'll leave Monica my personal life contact information because
Great.
she and I can still be in touch if needed for anything. She's
Yeah,
my
that's
friend.
great, Katie. Thank you.
She's one of my work
Thank you.
friends. They gotta keep it there.
Thank you.
All
Thank
right.
you, You'll be great. Yeah,
Bye,
good
guys.
night, everyone.
Good night.